Welcome back, everybody. I hope you're all okay. Just want to introduce myself for those who haven't seen me before. My name's Mick Norris. I've been doing podcasts previously. I've not been doing them for the last 2 years because I was unwell. I'm now back on the scene and I'm going to be doing at least one a month to do it. We're going to be doing different topics, and we're going to be putting these topics out every week. We're going to be doing different contents on different platforms, etc. So a little bit about what we're going to be talking about. It'll be talking about the pain points within plumbing and heating companies. It'll be also be talking about operations, systems and processes. There's so much that we'll be talking about. In fact, I can't even remember half the stuff that we'll be doing because I've got a prompt in front of me and it's that tiny I can't read it. So basically, yeah, there's going to be some interesting stuff, and it's going to be aimed at people that are interested in plumbing and heating, that have got businesses, small businesses, successful businesses, big businesses, etc. It's also going to be involved to the customer as well. So we will be trying to get the customer, the consumer, to get involved and listen to the podcast as well. Because what I'm trying to do is give the awareness of M&R Plumbing and Heating and myself and what knowledge that we have in the industry and what we've been through to get to where we are today, so that everyone's got an understanding. It's going to be quite interesting for people that are not in the industry as well. So I'd like you to all enjoy what I've got to offer, because we will be releasing and publishing this every week. So today's topic is going to be about pain points, the pain points that we have in a plumbing and heating company, because to be quite frank with you, there's quite a few. So some of this is going to be a little bit negative, but we're going to turn it into a positive. So one of the biggest pain points I had was when I was on my own in a van and I was getting the calls throughout the day to quote the jobs which I was missing, and then I was turning up to customers' houses trying to do the jobs and trying to answer the phone. So the biggest pain point I had was customers saying, you've not got back to me, you've not done this, you've not done that. But the other thing is I couldn't afford to rent an office out, get a member of the team, or do anything like that. So ultimately I was doing everything. So I'd get up in the morning, typically about 5 o'clock. I'd get everything ready, go out to do the jobs. Bearing in mind, I've been pitching myself till 6, 7 o'clock at night, if not 10 o'clock at night, depending on, what day it was or what season we was in. So basically, you're doing like 70, 100 hours a week. So that's, it's a big pain point, that, because a lot of the lads out there, they are earning roughly about £1,000 a week. But when you actually break that £1,000 down into pounds, shillings and pence, they're probably on less than minimum wage. I think the other thing as well, when you've got your own company, you spend a lot of time worrying about everything. You overthink everything. You're looking at everybody else, what they're doing, how they're doing it. So there's a lot of time spent there. So you're in this psyche of, oh my God, is this ever going to end? Another thing is, while you're there, that's a big pain point. While you're there, can you just, and you can't say no. So if you've got 10 jobs on in that day, customers can add on easy 3 hours within that, and you don't want to let them down. So you become almost worse than you was when you was employed, because you're now employed, but the difference is you've got hundreds of employers as opposed to one employer telling you to go this and go there. So that's a big pain point. How did I get around that pain point? What I did is basically started to realise that I was doing loads of different things. At the first, you have to do, you've got to do toilet repairs, service boilers, boiler installations, general plumbing, fixing boilers. It's endless, and a plumber usually works with about 150,000 different products, so people are not aware of that. So when you turn up to a job, like, why have you not got your materials, why have you not got this? Because ultimately I didn't know what I was going to do. Yeah, but you fit obs all the time, or you fit boilers all the time, but they don't realise there's so many different fittings and you'd need a bloody articulated lorry to do that. So going back to how did I get over that, so I carried on doing that. So then I took an apprentice on. My first apprentice was called Gary. He was probably about 17. He's still with us. He's 20 years in now. He's a head engineer, quoting engineer. So we trained him up, which we had our ups and downs, me and Gary, but he came through it. We also then had a girl working in the office. As soon as I could start to make enough money, the problem I had was I was paying money to pay for staff to free my time, but that went on and round in circles for a long, long time. So we basically decided, right, how can we do this? So there was a team at that time. My brother had started for me. I had a girl in the office. I had one of the lads working for me. So I had a team of about 3 with 2 vans on the road. I was still heavily involved on the tools. So ultimately, I was getting up in the morning, writing their diaries out. This was way before. You going back to like year 2002, where they didn't have systems, processes and operations. It was always pen and paper, and the best system we had was like Sage and Act, which was pretty archaic to what we've got today. A lot of the stuff and software that's out today gets rid of a lot of these pain points. I'm still shocked and surprised that a lot of the one-man bands and the up-and-coming plumbing companies are not aware of these systems, processes and operations. That's a big pain point when you're trying to run a business. You need to know where you are, you need to know where your numbers are, you need to know where everything is at. But when you're a plumbing and heating engineer, you are trained to be a plumbing and heating engineer. What you're not trained to be is a businessman. It's took me years, and in fact, it's only probably the last 5 years it's clicked. And I've been in it since I was 15. So what am I now, 47? So it's quite a long, well, I'm 46, I'm not 47 for a couple of weeks. In fact, 2 days actually. So ultimately, the point I'm trying to make is that is there anybody out there that's thinking, how am I going to do this? There is things that you can watch and learn, like listen to people like me. I'm not saying I'm a guru or anything like that, but I have got a lot of experience in the industry. So pain point 1 is, how do you come from a one-man band to a company? That's a big pain point. How do you do it? Persistency, show up, start to build a team. It's easier said than done. But anybody that's at that point now that's thinking, I need an apprentice, as soon as you, or any point you think you need a hand, you need to do it, just do it, instantly do it, done. Pain point 2, how do I get my customers, how do I make sure they stay? Customer service is really, really important, really, really important. So ultimately, you've got to do the job, tidy up, and sometimes at the end of the day, you're exhausted, so you're trying to be, polite. You've just got to push through that. And also, you've got to make sure that everybody that's working with you is pushing through that and trying not to show that. I could go on and on and on with these pain points, but these are my particular pain points. So pain point 3 for me was, then I was going out to do jobs and I was getting a call, can you come now? Well, I can be there tomorrow. That's not good enough. That's awful, because ultimately you're now being gun to your head. You either come or you're not going to get this job. You need to get that job because you need that money, you need that consistency. So you're going out to that. That's very difficult to say no. I say no now because majority of our customers understand and they'll wait, but I've now got a big team, so it's a lot easier for me to say, and I probably have forgot some of these pain points as well. I remember them, but I've still got pain points to current day. So that's another issue. Getting premises, that's difficult because how do you afford it? Pain points, they're just full of them everywhere. So what I'm trying to say is anybody that's trying to do it now, you've got to come up with your own method. You've got to start looking what other people do. Copy the big boys. Have a look what the big boys are doing. Bigger than me, our size. A lot of companies my size are doing what the big boys are doing. We've just not got the infrastructure to do what they do. But ultimately, we're all doing the same. All companies, we've all got the same. I can look at any plumbing company doing $1 million, $2 million, $3 million, $4 million, $5 million, whatever it is, and know exactly what's going on in that business because I've been doing it long enough and running £1 million plumbing company, which has been a massive challenge. In fact, it's probably one of the hardest industries to run. Anybody that you're using a service and a product is different. If you're doing like Amazon, from selling a product, sending it away, all you've got to do is send it back and swap it. We've got to send an engineer to swap it and put and correct and then go back, and we don't get paid for that. So it's different. Everything's so different. So I think how I want to wrap this up with you guys is basically anybody that's in a situation where they think it's impossible, you need to go and have a look at what you're doing. Just stand back, sit back and think, what am I doing here? Am I doing too many products? Am I doing too many things? And more than likely you are, but you're terrified, absolutely terrified of not taking everything on because you've got the ability to do everything. But unfortunately, you haven't got the manpower to do everything. So then you start becoming unreliable to customers, and customers start thinking he's this, that, and the other. They just don't. In fact, they don't care, to be quite frank, about how you're feeling, because it's all about them. And a lot of the stuff that they're coming to you, you've got to remember, is they're not going buying a Gucci bag. They're going to buy a boiler or something they don't want to spend money on. It's like a pain point for them. We're getting on the pain point. So you've got to convince them that this is a great idea. It's brilliant. It's fantastic. It was, efficiency, etc. So there's lots of things that you can do to make the positivities to the customer, on to yourself, to make yourself feel better about selling the products, is doing that. One of the biggest pain points for me again, and I'm rambling on a little bit, jumping about because my mind's kind of all over the show all the time, was basically what brand or product do I use? So I just pick the best, just go with the best brand, pick the best, start fitting loads of the boilers, get in with them, job done. And do you know what? It's worked. We've got a showroom in Horwich. It's all Worcester Bosch products. And now a lot of engineers won't agree with me on that, but Worcester Bosch do offer guarantees. The backup's amazing and they've been great with us. So I've never had a problem. So that eradicated me fitting all different boilers. Thankfully now Worcester have bought a cheap boiler out so we can now compete again in the market, because again, that was a pain point. These Worcester boilers are a fortune. I can go and get this boiler in Alpha that's a lot cheaper. Yes, it is a lot cheaper. Alpha's a good boiler. I'm not saying it's not, but it's not a Worcester. And if you speak to anybody in the industry, they're not. But you do pay for what you get, because with them you get a warranty. With Bosch you get a guarantee. So there is a difference again. So all these things that all the engineers are having to deal with day in, day out, I just wish sometimes when the customer rings up, if they could just give them a little bit of a break, because ultimately they are flat out. We'll get, we'll be poorly. Another pain point. Today we can't make it. Why? Because unfortunately we've got an issue with one of the engineers. Send someone else. Well, we can't send them because that means I'm pulling off a job. Don't care, not my problem, your problem. So you've just got to be so diplomatic, because we're dealing with about 120 jobs a week, and ultimately that's a lot of stress. We only need one person off sick. With the amount of team we've probably got someone off every week with holidays and sickness and various other things, children, and there's so many things involved in this industry. And I'm not saying it's not involved in every other industry, because it is. The difference is in our industry, if you're working in an office, someone's off, you can cover for the office. You cannot cover for an engineer. If an engineer rings in sick and doesn't turn up, that boiler's not getting fixed. That issue's not getting fixed, because every van that you've got is another part of your business. That van is like a shop, that van's a shop, that van's a shop, that van's a shop. If you close that shop and them customers can't come into it, you're losing revenue and you're getting complaints. So that is another extremely pain. But how I've got over all these is get my team to start understanding, spend the time when we make a mistake, listen to recordings on phones, record the phone calls. We make sure that everybody is on the same page, so the team know, right, we've messed up on this particular job, let's have a meeting about it. I'll go on to training later on, but ultimately I'm still learning, and I've learned a lot and I've got a lot of experience, and I've then got to put that replication into my team to stop all these pain points before they come to me. There's got to be levels in the industry in the business where that then comes to me, and they've done and sweated and done as much as they possibly can to stop this from happening before it comes to me, because I used to deal with a lot more than I do now, and that was because it was easy to just give it me, I can't be bothered, and push your team away, and that would frustrate the team. Hence, I changed everything. Having been poorly the year before, and can see I've had to change my whole life, and it's probably a good thing that's happened. It's a bad thing, but it's a good thing, because now it's made me realise that it's so important to get your team right. So if you're now at the point where you're a one-man band, that's cool. And if you're happy being at that level, that's cool. I'm not saying this is for everybody, but if you're frustrated and you're going through these points, the only best bit of advice I can do is persistency. Start to have a look at it and at least spend a day, if it's a Saturday or Sunday, or a couple hours in the morning away from everything, just concentrating, how can I make this better? Write them all down. I used to wake up in the night, put a diary at the side of me, just write it down. So when I wake up in the morning, I can see it and deal with it. That was another pain point, because you'd wake up in the night thinking, I forgot this, I forgot that, where am I going with this, where am I going with that? Write it down. Now, it's not the same as putting it in your notes on your phone, I believe. I think if you write it down, it gets out of your head, it clears it, and then you've got it when you wake up in the morning. So like I said, I could talk all day about these pain points. So I'm just going to start wrapping it up now, because ultimately, is there an answer to all this? Yes, there is. Persistency. You've got to show up. It's like showering. You get a shower every day. If you think you're going to smell beautiful for a week but not shower, you're not going to you're going to stink. So every day you've got to have that attitude. You've got to keep showing up and coming up with methods, process, operations. So you'll get to 100,000, 200,000, 300,000, £500,000, £1 million. And I'm pretty sure from my level to some of the companies, one of the companies that I want to get on, where I think he's doing 18 million, his pain points will be still the same but on a bigger scale. So I'd like to just put it out there that there's heating engineers out there that are worrying about certain things, but we're all in the same game, we're all in the same boat. And to be honest with you, if you just reach out to me, I'll do my best to get back to you. It's absolutely fine. Most of the people, if you want it, you'll get it, and keep persistent, guys. Anyway, I'm going to wrap up and leave it at that. Have a great day, night, evening, wherever you are, or whenever you listen to this. Take care.